First thing is to approve the agenda. Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Jake, you are the first one on today.
Okay. Yeah, I really don't have much, so I have an update here on maintenance stuff, culvert replacement. We were able to do that replacement on Tuesday, and then we've been working in the last, yesterday and today on riprap and ditching, so the ditches were rather deep in that area, so we did some adjustment to those ditches, minor adjustments, they're still kind of steep ditches, but to get that fit up, and then we'll be getting that ready to seed. Rock resurfacing, we're working on trying to finalize our rock plan for the year. So we've been working there south and east of Highway 218. So they were able to get 335th Street. They're actually finishing that up this morning. And then we will be moving to our quarry next week, most likely, to work out our quarry for the projects to the west of our quarry, or west of Franklin Avenue. Territory operators, we'll be spot blading later today, so once we get this rock done today, they're gonna go hop in their blades today and tomorrow to go around and look at intersections. We've got a lot of washboards with the drier conditions. We have not done a lot of blading with the dust out there. And so now as harvest is starting to pick up, we're gonna go work on intersections. And you'll see us driving around spot blading. So we don't wanna tear up the whole road at this point. But the blade operators are looking at some of the worst areas that we've got. So some of that new rock that we put down, we see a little more washboarding with that just because there's a more volume of rock that's loose, hasn't had a chance to tie down yet. So there'll be, some guys will be touching that stuff up that we've resurfaced at this point. Shoulder maintenance, we did send out 2 blades yesterday to go work north of Mount Union on Racine Avenue. They're doing some shoulder discing, trying to repair some of the shoulder that's gotten damaged. They're going to continue that for probably into next week, off and on, depending on our schedule and stuff. So again, it's kind of making the rounds. So what you'll see is the shoulder disc would kind of chew up that sawed edge, kind of gets high over on the edge. They'll chew that up, and then they pull that in with whatever rock they can up against the pavement. Pack that in, or try to drive it in traffic, we'll work some of that around, and then if we need to spot more rock later on, we would. So some of these are kind of identifying what we've got.
Is there a gauge you try to use on the shoulder versus the edge of the road, like less than 2 inches? Or?
Yeah, it's usually more about when it gets to our timing. So the deeper that gets, and the idea is concern is when traffic diverts off and they pull back on, they overcorrect. So, you know, if you're talking, so south of Salem is another area that we're going to be working on because we've got some areas that, So that's probably around that 2 inches. And again, that's where that shoulder disc will run down there, and we're going to pull what rock we can up. Again, those are candidates when we get our shoulder machine to look at adding more rock in places. We just can't afford to be doing that all the time. So we pick and choose what we can and try to utilize that material on the outside edge. So.
But no more than 2 inches, so you don't overcorrect.
I wouldn't get you into a number. It's kind of like as we're doing it, like right now we're hitting the spots that, most of the spots that we're working on now are because of water, rain events washing out. What you're seeing there south of Salem is just kind of the general wear of the road or the shoulder itself, so we need to get that pulled up. Yep.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
Yep. Signs and miscellaneous repairs. So signs, Pete's just been working on some, we had a stop sign down today, actually overnight, that he's fixing today, but just working on some of his miscellaneous repairs and sign replacement that he's had. And then mowing, we're slowing that down, but we do have a mower that's still working on the north part of the territory, or the county, to finish that up, and that will complete our 3rd round of mowing. At that point, we will stop our mowing operations, and it'll be mainly if the blade operators have time, they want to do some more extensive mowing, like working in the actual ditch bottoms and stuff like that, we will allow that. And then we'll probably mow our pavements one more time yet to try to knock that. But the weed, I'll say weeds, because I don't think a whole lot's growing right now other than weeds. So yeah. And then the last item I had is just miscellaneous construction. This is the bridge project here west of town that we haven't done anything on other than the paving grubbing in the spring. The contractor, Iowa Bridge and Culvert, notified us that they don't plan to start until the middle of October at the earliest. Really what I'm telling you guys that for is, at least as we're into harvest, the road will be open at this point, at least till the middle of October. We're supposed to get a 2-week notice to do another pre-construction meeting with them, so whenever they are anticipating within 2 weeks that they're gonna wanna close the road, I'll have more information at that point. But right now, I just wanted to pass that on, that there is no plan to close that road in the next month.
You know, are there any utilities that come across that bridge that are gonna cause any interruption for us?
They have been relocated, so
They've all been
that was the last week, we had an email that
Yeah.
came through. That was the last, party to get relocated, so they went aerial to the south side. The other entities, we ended up boring them on the north side, figured out where they wanted to be at, and then the power lines are taken care of temporarily, so they were able to reroute power until the project's done. So that's part of the contractor and the entity, so in our case, the county that's responsible to work with the utility. So early on in the phase of construction planning, an email gets sent out to all utilities are in the proposed project. So they have to determine if their utility is in the way based on our grade cuts, different construction side things. This one here just, sometimes they get, there's so many different ones out there in communication. Originally, they thought they were clear, and then afterwards they realized, wait a second, we have an issue. So we do work on that in the background and try to make sure the project's ready to go, so there isn't any delays. Sometimes we do have delays with utilities. A lot of times it's with your smaller municipalities that would have a, whatever type of utility that's out there, that's gas or water, that maybe it's a resource issue. Like we dealt with that in Wayland when we did a project where we had a major gas line that they had to relocate, and that took some time to coordinate, but we were able to get on that early enough to try to make sure that doesn't impact the construction once we actually close the road.
So how often, how early in the process do they know that they're gonna have to relocate?
So we let them know when we get to the check plan stage, or when we're getting to preliminary plans saying, hey, this is roughly the right of way we're gonna need. It looks like your utility is out there. You need to, here's some cross sections that you need to look at. So that's the day one kicker for our timeline that we look at. So that email is a date that I hold on to, because part of our letting process is I have to make sure that when I sign off, that I let all the utilities know that I know of. And we always use the caveat that we know of. So if they don't show up on a one call ticket, it's really hard for us to know that they're out there.
Okay, that helps. Did we have an interruption last Friday then? Nothing at all, right? That was my understanding.
I think it was, I think they were just preparing for the worst. I believe, it sounded like maybe it was a disruption to the west and more than it was to the east, based on how that line is. But they were done. I got an email around 2 o'clock on Friday, I think, that they were done. So they started that, I believe, around 10 o'clock to switch over. It sounded like it went really smooth from that perspective, so.
Okay, good.
That's all I have, unless you have any other questions.
I do just have one question here for you. I was looking at the budget, this $104,000 to Dowds. Is that for, it says granular resurface, is that?
Oh, that's for rock. That's
Finishing the grinding?
No,
Or
that's actually
oh.
that's just buying rock.
Oh, okay.
So there, we've done a lot of rock hauling in that month. Some of that money was actually, there was another one there, that's the shoulders that we put on, so that 10,000, that's what we put on for the granite shoulders up there.
Okay.
So as part of that bill, we'll get split with the city. So originally they were gonna pay for it, but for billing purposes, it's all gonna come through us, and then we'll submit a bill to the city to reimburse us for their half.
Okay,
So, yep.
good, thank you.
And on the 235th project, with patching on the west of the golf course, I've gotten a lot of good kudos, that they said, thank you, you did the best job they've ever seen done.
Yeah, guys did a great
Passed on
job.
to the gentleman.
Yep, I'll make sure I pass that on, yeah.
So I said, yes, I will pass that on to them.
Okay. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Kudos to the guys on 305th. They were doing gravel on my road yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
It's really nice.
We
It-
didn't skip your house over
it
there.
needed
Rick.
some,
Yes,
yeah.
it did.
Caleb is not present, so we'll move on. We have the Hall Group Associates renewal of contract. We had a contract presented to us, and the attorneys reviewed it and said it was a good contract. We have the ability to renew a contract for this coming year with Hall Group Associates.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the contract for Paul Roof and Associates for HR support.
I will second that. Discussion wise, the fee has not changed, I believe since the day that we started with it.
So the fee
Pardon?
is $1,500 a month.
$1,500 a month. So. With that, any other discussion?
It's not for me, if you have anything.
We've had the motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, and that, we've hired him for another year.
And the contract goes from September 15th of 2025 to September 14th of 2026.
And for your interest, there is a 90-day out on either party. On that. Okay, next thing on our agenda is the discussion with Paul Greufe, the compensation plans. Some people have asked me, are we doing it? And I said, yes, but we never did a final vote, I guess, to make it as such.
Yeah.
So, I know Steve informed me there was some discussion of it last Tuesday also. So with that, entertain a motion to approve and go ahead with the compensation plan that were presented to us.
Yeah, I would make a motion to move forward with the compensation plan that was presented to us by Paul Greufe and his team. This is a hybrid plan, and I think some of the folks were talking about doing appraisals, so hopefully this gets you on a position to do that, so we can have some more discussion in a minute.
Okay, I'll second that. Yes, now time for discussion. We have some department heads here. Anything you'd like to say? No?
I like the compensation plan. The fact that we can incorporate not only longevity or tenure into the pay scale of the county employees, but to annually evaluate them and have that contributed as part of their compensation plan. I think that's a great idea.
When would this officially go into effect?
Today.
Today?
Today or whenever, so in your planning for next year's budget, Katie, is what it amounts to. And you can start doing your reviews when you need to, so you can have it ready for them.
And it wasn't clear to me, if we have staff that fall below, are we waiting until next budget cycle to bring them up? Okay.
Yeah,
That
we
was
just
my
need,
understanding.
yeah, we just need a good, clear plan from you on how we're gonna do that with the budget that's presented, because obviously you're gonna have to manage that dollar amount that you get allocated to each of those folks, so we're just gonna put that into perspective as well, and we can talk through that when you get there to make sure we understand where that one or two specific people are to fall into those grades, those categories.
And I envision, Katie, that the department heads would come to us beforehand and saying, this is what I'm thinking about, this is the kind of dollars I'll probably be needing to work the program I want to do it.
So that is, you had some questions on Tuesday, are you getting pretty clear?
I'm okay.
Good, okay. Kelly?
My only question was the reviews. He wants them presented to him for review, but how does that come back to you guys to know that we are actually doing our part?
What?
Because there was something about this, what do you call it, that extra money?
Discretionary.
Discretionary money. I don't understand that part of where that's gonna come in at.
Well, there's really no discretionary money. What that money is gonna be a dollar amount that's allocated to each department to manage at their discretion on how you pay out raises to your specific employees by department.
So is the CPI, is that going to be a guaranteed raise?
Never a guarantee.
Right?
Yeah, it's never a guarantee.
That wasn't my understanding. I guess our understanding was the CPI would be guaranteed, but then there would be a second, I don't know what you wanna call it, pot of money that would be at the director's discretion, how they split that amongst their staff based on the performance evaluations.
All of that's correct, except there's no guarantee that CPI will always be there. That'll be up to the discretion of the board of supervisors.
The CP, or my understanding would be is the wage table right now is, this is your range. The CPI comes out, it's gonna move irregardless, but our wages would still have to have them approve that. So if you have somebody at the minimum, then I think you guys would have to would have to know that if somebody's at the minimum, they're falling below, how are you gonna handle that? So there's gonna be some navigation as you go into this to figure out how you wanna do it, but the CPI is gonna move the table irregardless every year. It's whether or not they
You will accept it.
approve
Correct.
the raise.
I understood it that if the CPI is out and you three gentlemen say we're gonna honor that, then the scale will move. But if they say it's 0, we can't afford a CPI increase, then it would stay the same. That was the way I understood it. The CPI move is up to you guys.
Well, the CPI is gonna move because of the, it's the consumer price index, so it's on a
Right.
rolling 12-month schedule. So Paul will keep in touch with where the CPI is based on where the economy is in that rolling 12 months, and that's given to us by the folks from DC on Washington's side of that. But we'll know what those numbers are in advance so that we can
Yeah,
work that into whatever that pay grade or that scale might be.
my hope would be is that it would move, the CPI moves every year depending on what it is, because if you decide not to do that raise, it does allow us to see what does that not getting that raise that year, that CPI that year shows that you're falling behind, but some years it could actually go backwards. We gotta be, the table moves, but not necessarily what
Yeah, because
you're gonna
consumer
approve.
price index is based off of inflation, so to
Right.
your point, it should.
It's easy
To
to
a
say the
degree.
table will always move, but whether we move with it is another story.
Correct, yeah.
That's the way I interpret it. Yes.
But when it comes time, like a following year, we'll always have to move up to the next one.
Right.
So we could be behind.
Yeah.
Do we have anything in writing stating all of this? 'Cause all I've gotten were 2 sheets with
We can
pay
follow-
bands on them.
we can follow up with
So
Paul to make
it would
sure.
be nice to have it black and white, all spelled out, so that we can refer to that policy when the time comes.
And we can also give that to our employees,
Yeah,
help
that
them
makes
understand
sense.
that.
It sounds like the handbook will have description of that when we actually see the draft of that.
New handbook.
changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're supposed to be getting an email on draft changes that
Within the next week, I
proposed.
think.
But we can follow up, I'll make sure it's in there. That way it'll be highlighted so everybody knows exactly where it is and what the expectation is.
Any other discussion on it? Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It passes unanimously. Next, subcommittees.
I have no subcommittees this week, I have 3 next week, so I'll report on,
Same way here. Public comment. Galen,
Of course, thank you. Hey, if I go a little long this time, remember about 3 weeks ago, I didn't get my 3 minutes because you guys weren't here. But I gotta start with a report from last week. You know, there's, the liberals were in here and they were saying they just wanted to exercise their First Amendment rights over and over again. And that lady sitting a couple chairs down from me, you know, she was kind of complaining about my letter in the paper and me being out there walking around them, you know, at the park or the courthouse grounds. And then Dave sitting over here, they got a right to be on the memorial. And so whatever, but that was my heartburn with the thing. And anyhow, so Sunday, I put my sign together, my God and Trump sign, 3x3, 10-foot poles, and here I go out by the memorial. And believe it or not, they weren't on the memorial. They'd moved off onto the apron between the sidewalk and the memorial. And they greeted me. They said, "Hi, Lou, thanks for coming out. And we even wrote a song about you." Oh, okay, that's pretty good. So then here comes Dave Hellman over to me. He says, "I gotta tell you, I agree with that letter you had in the paper about the county attorney and the Brady Giglio list." I'm like, "Oh, that's good." So I see this guy walking across the street from the park, pretty good clip, gets over on the courthouse grounds, heads right to me, and he's a pretty good sized guy, and I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. Gets right up to me, stuck his hand out and said, "Thank you for being the lone voice of reason in this group." So that was pretty special. So anyhow, I think probably owe Bob a big thank you for straightening Dave out, you know, when he interrupted. And but maybe you, Mark, because if I'm not mistaken, one of the band members is your representative on the compensation board. Is that right? Jeff Olson?
No, he's not on the compensation board.
He's not? Oh, okay. Well, he was, wasn't he? Well, anyhow, okay. I'm wrong about that then. Okay, so then moving along with public comments now. Last week I told you briefly I had an anonymous call. No anonymous letters this time, just an anonymous call. And it was on Vicky's phone. It said private caller or private number or something like that. She dumped it. call came right back and she answered, and lady wanted to talk to me. So Vicky gave me the phone, and I asked her who it was. She wouldn't tell me. Asked her how she got the number. She wouldn't tell me. And so I talked to her a little bit. She just moved to town. And she lives in Linden Heights, and she has a real interest in the county government. And I'm thinking, you know, that's kind of interesting. And she saw one of John Bain's videos. And the white-haired guy in the middle, that'd be you, Mark, I says, yeah, you know, you got your name right there. It showed up on the video. And he says Leland. And so I had comments, you know, so she's the guy, or I'm the guy she wants to talk to. So anyhow, she asked about the county attorney, yeah. Real interested in the IT specialist guy. And so anyhow, so I just told her what I knew. And, you know, I've had enough of these calls in my lifetime. People I don't know, I can entertain them a little bit. And I asked her again who she was or how she got my number. Wouldn't say, whatever. Anyhow, I probably entertained her for a half hour. And that was the end of that. Then, the next day, Wednesday afternoon, I got a phone call, no caller ID, but he told me who he was. He's your IT guy. And I got some bad information, and he wants to straighten me out. And he talked about his salary. He wasn't getting $100,000. He's only making $95,000, just got a $4,000 raise. And there's never been a problem between him and me. He told me that, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, and that's true. I've never had a problem with him personally. But he's got a lawyer in Iowa City, and he's going after 2 of you guys, one of you in here, because you broke the law. And he's going to get you out of here. He's going to get you removed. Well, now I got a problem with him. I don't think that's his job. That's my job. He's sitting here making $95,000, and he's going to have 2 lawfully elected public representatives removed. And I just don't think that's right. Anyhow, wait a minute. I put my glasses on.
Leland,
What?
You are past your time. I mean, I gave you your opening comments, but go ahead. I'll let you go on today. Go ahead.
All right. Okay, so anyhow, he said he knows who wrote that last anonymous letter. He wouldn't tell me who because it might jeopardize his legal case. Whatever, I don't care, whatever. Anyhow, yeah, I got a real problem with what he's doing. And so I guess I'd have to ask you guys, by what grounds did you authorize a $4,000 pay increase for him? And then we got this, his substitute coming in here, the only guy he trusts, and I don't think any of you guys know him. The substitute, Mark Halm or whatever his name is. Now how can that be? So anyhow, I'm asking you to treat the taxpayers with respect. Now, so I got some questions for you, and I'll go through them real quick, and then I'll give you this. So who and when decided to have a full-time IT safety specialist? Was the Board of Supervisors involved in this decision? Okay, who set the requirements for the position, the job description? Was the job posted to the public? Did anyone else apply for the position? Who determined the starting salary? Was there a background check, security clearance, or competence test performed? Were there any referrals? Who's responsible for approving the work the specialist has completed? What kind of safety work is required? Has there ever been an evaluation performed on the work to determine if the work is satisfactory and any pay increase is justified? When did the specialist become a department head of a standalone department? Does this specialist, now department head, answer or report to the Board of Supervisors? Has his assistant been approved for work in the courthouse? Does this assistant have security clearance, background check? Do you guys even know him? How often is the assistant needed and for what reason? How did you base your approval on the $4,000 pay increase? Does he have a representative on the compensation board? Does the specialist have authority by his job description to hire his personal attorney in an attempt to remove 2 lawfully elected public officials? Do you believe the taxpayers deserve answers to these questions and an accounting for the tax dollars that you throw around without justification? Do you believe this position could be eliminated and the job done by private contractor to save the taxpayers money? Do you believe the taxpayers depend on you? You guys are sitting at the head table, don't forget that, to make the best choices in the use of tax dollars. Now, I'll leave this with you.
Thank you.
You can make your own copies for 25 cents a page.
Anybody else like to speak? Bob?
It's a hard act to follow, Leland, don't like to say, but, you know, we all saw yesterday how tragic this nation has become. And in reference to a couple weeks ago when we had the people in here that were complaining about a lack of security, they were wanting the county to put up more cameras, they were requesting. We saw out in Utah yesterday how the FBI is going house to house looking for door cameras and trying to track this suspect down. I don't think it is especially the county's responsibility to cover the streets. However, I think over here where Whelly's Shell Station used to be, it's a nice little park now, has a pretty clock tower in it. That would be an ideal spot for the city to put in a camera. I don't believe it's the county's obligation to provide security to the whole city of Mount Pleasant. But I do agree that these people do have a right to feel safe. I might not agree with them 100%, but they have that right. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Do I have any time left?
Can you talk to us after the meeting, Leland?
I didn't get what you said, but I'll be real quick. Okay, that copy of that pocket constitution I gave you last week, if you notice, that was from Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA.
Yep.
He started that when he was 18 years old. And I think that's pretty significant. And yesterday, on the House floor, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, after they found out he'd been killed, she asked for prayer on the House floor. And the Democrats yelled objections.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'll quit.
Okay, nothing else on our agenda? No one else wants to speak? Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned.